Sunday night, 2:08. Lots of news. Division breakdown. I'm ready. You're ready. Lock in. Buckle up. Let's get started right now. Welcome, all you 208 fantasy football fans. Good Lord, it's almost time. It's almost August. We're ready to roll. Justin Chance, how are we doing today? Justin, what, you staying out of the 106 heat?
Yeah, we had our baby finally, so it's glad to finally not have a pregnant wife. So we had her on Monday, so that was nice to get out of the way. So
congrats, sir. Congrats. Chance, how about you, Farmer Chance? How's the heat treating you on the tractor?
It's hot. It's so hot. It's so miserable. My days are just sweaty and miserable, but it's making the cut that I'm in that much easier. I've just been shedding the pounds, which is way nice.
Excellent. Well, let's jump right into it. NFL news.
What's going on?
Chance, what you got for us?
Hopefully this is our last week of slow news. The last reporting date for training camps is the 24th. So every team will have reported for training camp by the 24th, which Wednesday or Thursday, one of those days. So most teams are going to report between now and then. So that's super exciting. Big news from this week. Brandon Ayuk formally requested a trade. So that whole drama, we've been talking about it and we'll keep talking about it. Do you guys think he goes anywhere still?
Justin?
No, I don't.
I don't either, but it's starting to worry me for his fantasy value. I'm a little bit nervous. The holdout has never done well for anybody, and if he does get traded, we were talking a little bit about this earlier, I'm nervous. It's just slow go. Talented player, but these things don't work out real in fantasy world in my mind. So
so he requests a trade. Devontae Adams, after being on, receiver, there was all this talk about, there were rumors about a Devontae Adams trade or him still being unhappy. And him and his agent came out and said that Devontae Adams is currently and clearly a Raider and will stay a Raider. So there was just enough of that was in the news cycle. I thought I'd bring it up. There does sound like there's going to be quite a few camp holdouts, or if not a holdout, then a hold in, where they show up, but they're not really participating. I mean, I think you're going to see Ayuk, CeeDee Lamb, some of the others we heard, Alvin Kamara, Dak Prescott. Was that one that was a hold in?
I haven't heard anything about him holding out.
I haven't either.
Oh, yeah, not Dak Prescott. So we've got that Alvin Kamara, some T. Higgins stuff. I don't know if T's going to try to get a different contract. He signed his unrestricted, or his franchise tag. So he's there, but there's still some guys who could hold in, who could try to get a little extra money. Cortland Sutton is also one of those who might hold out.
Yeah, very possible. Yeah, on the Ayuk front too, I did read today that the Pats offered a second rounder for him during the draft, and the 49ers turned that down. I think that also believes that they'll hold on to him. He won't like it. He won't be happy, but we'll see what happens.
I just don't understand what you're not happy about. You were like you're in the Super Bowl last year. Like what do you want to do? You're on easily a top 4 best team in the league, and you don't want to play there. It's not like you're not getting the ball. Like read the tea leaves, Ayuk. It blows my mind that he would want to go play for Washington instead.
I think what happened was the A.J. Brown contract right during the draft derailed everything for them. I think they were going to extend him, give him a contract, and then the price just kept going up, and they're like, no, we're not going to match this. So we'll make you play on your final year and see how it goes and see if we can get paid next year. So we'll see what happens.
He hasn't got his big money. Like, he's still on his rookie contract. So I don't know, like, these wide receiver contracts are just getting out of hand, but he's going to get paid a lot of money.
Yes, he will.
Yep. Last little bit of news that I saw just came out recently. Javonte Williams, Samaje Perine are supposed to be battling for one position on the Broncos backfield. So one of those two veterans probably not on the team. And then my news, I saved this for Lineberry. Okay, some O-line news. Okay.
Oh, yes, let's go.
O-line. Yeah, so Ryan Ramczyk for the Saints is not going to play all season. He's out for the season. So Saints backfield already, we'll talk about it today, could be interesting.
It's not much brighter report like that on top of it. So.
Oh yeah, it's not great, but now you're going to lose that guy. And then in my opinion, a top 5 guard in the league.
Yeah,
the belly, Quinn Miners. Yeah,
he got a nice paycheck.
He got paid, man, $20 million a year. So he's paid like a top 5 guard in the league. So, and the dude's nasty. I mean, I'm a Broncos fan, but just watching his guard play, that dude is nasty. He is so fun to watch.
They're glorified fullbacks, man. I love it, dude. Watching them pull and just murdering linebackers and like DBs. It's some of the funnest football to watch.
Oh yeah, the best.
One last piece of news I want to throw out there is the Jordan Love contract that came out just a little bit ago. There are no closer to a mega deal or extending his contract, which makes you a bit nervous. He did enough stuff out there. They really do think he's the next big quarterback in the league. So we'll see what happens. We need to keep a close eye on that as the season moves along, and we'll kind of go from there. But that's going to wrap it up for our news this evening. We're going to jump right into it. I think we're in Justin's favorite division.
Yeah,
so let's get right into the NFC South.
Terrible division.
And just do a little bit of division breakdown. Bucks, the Saints, and the Panthers. We're going to break down all of these players, where they're currently being drafted, who we like, who we don't like, what are we going to do with them. And we're going to start off right here and go to the Carolina Panthers. Justin, what do we got with the Carolina Panthers? Let me know.
So actually, the Panthers might be my second favorite team in this division. So
really,
yeah, I really like. This is a shout out to Givens because Givens is a Panthers fan, but man, they're like the Titans a little bit. So.
Oh my gosh, I hate that comparison so much.
I just put it out there. They're a little bit like that. So they're 32nd in total offense, 32nd in passing offense, 20th in rushing, and 31st in scoring offense. So they were probably the worst offense in the league. So Canales comes over from Tampa. He's a smart, creative play caller. Comes from the Pete Carroll tree. He's the one that kind of revived Geno Smith's career, Baker's career a little bit. Does a little bit of RPO, screen game, quick game. If you want to know how Canales runs his offense, just go watch Raquan White. Go watch him just run that offense. But we'll get into that in a minute. I don't know if they can replicate the deep ball game they had because they did have Mike Evans, and Mike Evans is a Hall of Famer, a freak. I love their free agent signings just because they're O-line. So they went out, they signed 2 guards in Damian Lewis from the Seahawks and then Robert Hunt from the Dolphins. I think they spent upwards of $150 million on them. So I love what they're doing with their interior. That allows Austin Colbert, who is a very good guard, to slip into center, which is a more natural position. So their interior should be so much better and not have Bryce Young absolutely get killed. They also invested in wide receiver with Johnson and Xavier Legette, so it'll be kind of interesting how they go with there. They were 41% run and 59% pass.
Interesting. This team is intriguing this year. I think either you are on the love them train or you don't care for him train, for sure. So let's start off with Bryce Young. He is ranked position 27th, currently 168 ADP. You can get him in the 5th round. Either one of you on the Bryce Young train this year? Chance?
No way. I mean, to me, there are so many other quarterbacks that are going to be drafted low that I can scoop up that I would just rather have than Bryce Young. And I understand that Bryce Young was a great player. You can talk all you want about his weight and his height and him being small. I don't think he can be worse than last year, right? Like, I don't think he can be worse than last year. But even then, give me a few other guys' ceilings over Bryce Young. I mean, just hard pass on Young for me.
Justin?
So in redraft leagues, I would stay away from him. In Dynasty, like, this is the perfect time to go get him. Like, that's just totally my opinion. Like last year was rough. Like, his completion percentage was 59%, which is super low in the NFL. His touchdown to interception rate was 11-10. Like, go watch any Panthers game. Go watch any highlights if they have any. He is getting killed. He has no time to throw the ball. Like, he's a quick game guy, and like they can never get the quick game going with him. So I think he will have a bounce back year. Do I think the Panthers will be remotely good? Probably not. But I do like where they are going. I would not draft Bryce Young in redraft leagues, though.
I agree with all. Let's go to move to the running backs. You have Chuba Hubbard, Brooks, and Sanders. Miles Sanders. This running back room is interesting. Chuba Hubbard's ranked 51, ADP 162. You can pick him up in the 4th round. Jonathan Brooks, who they just moved to the PUP list today, really no impact for regular season. He'll be ready to go. He's ranked 26th and 93 ADP, and you can get him in the 8th round. Miles Sanders, 78, 263, and he's outside the top 20. Are either one of you interested in this running game with the Panthers? Justin, let's start with you.
Okay, so we're gonna start with Jonathan Brooks. I think me and Matt are probably on the same page with him. Probably Chance too. Okay, so Canales gave Rachaad White 272 carries. That is a substantial amount. He averaged 3.6 yards a carry. I think that's Austin Eckler. Like, it was not good, but he caught a ton of balls. And I think we can all agree that Jonathan Brooks could be and should be a better NFL player than Rachaad White. And he fed him in that offense. Like, I'm super in on Jonathan Brooks. Do I think he's going to come on late? Probably. It's going to be kind of hard to rely on him. But in the 8th round, I'm probably going to get him. I like him a lot. Again, like I said, they invested so much in that O-line, which makes me super excited. I love big guards. Both these guards are over 330, and they're just mean in the run game. So I think they're going to try to run the ball, and they're going to run this offense through him.
Chance.
Rachaad White. Rachaad. Who says Rachaad? Rachaad White. I like how Rachaad White was used last year, and I would agree that it's going to be like, if you're going to take Jonathan Brooks in the 8th, I would 100% recommending taking Chuba Hubbard as a flyer at the end of your draft. Because if Jonathan Brooks isn't ready to start the season, Chuba Hubbard is going to fill that role. And when Chuba Hubbard played for Oklahoma State, there was a little bit of time where he was looked at as the number 1 running back coming out of college when he was going to declare. So Chuba Hubbard is a great back. He's super shifty out of the backfield. I think he would play really well in that Rachaad White role. But when Jonathan Brooks comes on, I think he's going to come on super strong. And if I drafted running back, and Jonathan Brooks was my 3rd running back in the 8th, and I had to sit and wait on him a little bit, I'd be super happy with that.
Yeah, I'm probably steering away from this entire backfield. Brooks is going to be a mid-year guy. I really like him next year. Chuba Hubbard, I think, had 230 carries, something like that, for 5 touchdowns and a little less than 100 or 900 yards, low 1,000 yards. I'm just going to stay away. I think there's other running backs I like much better in the 8th round that with more upside. If he falls a little bit, and here's the thing, I think he will fall a little bit because of the PUP designation early on, that you might be able to get him later, then okay. But we'll see how it goes. Wide receivers. So some new faces in here for this wide receiver crew. Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen's there from last year, and then the rookie Xavier Legette. Deontay Johnson's ranked 41, 65 in his ADP, and pick him up in the 6th round. Adam Thielen, who came on strong early in the season last year, position ranked 72, 159 is ADP, pick him up in the 14th round, and the rookie Xavier Legette, which I think all 3 of us like, position rank 66, 142 in the 12th round. Anybody picking up any of these guys at any of these position ranks? Chance, let's start with you.
I actually am really coming around on Deontay Johnson. Like,
okay.
I'm coming around on him, and I just think that like he was really good for Pittsburgh, and where he's at, and this just goes back to like the way I envision most of my drafts going. I'm going to be picking my wide receiver 2 realistically about the 6th round, 5th, 6th round. I'm looking for my wide receiver 2. And for me, Deontay Johnson's a really good wide receiver 2 on my team. And I would be super happy to have that. I just think about what Adam Thielen did in that offense to start the year last year. Like, Adam Thielen was super relevant. I think Adam Thielen is on the sunset of his career. And so Deontay Johnson, to me, steps in and takes over that work that Adam Thielen had to start the season, which, just to remind everyone, Adam Thielen last year, let's see, I have these stats pulled up because I thought it was impressive. Adam Thielen last year, he had 137 targets. I think that's going to go down. I think he was just really productive in the first half of the season. So I don't know why that wouldn't carry over to week 2, he had 16 points. Week 3, he had 26 points. He had 11 points week 4, 22 points, 23 points. I mean, he was getting fed the ball to start the season. And I think Deontay Johnson is going to just step into that role and be relevant as a wide receiver 2 on your team.
Justin, yay, nay?
I agree with that. The only thing with Deontay Johnson that scares me is like this is just a Pittsburgh thing that I'm just kind of biased with. It feels like Pittsburgh develops wide receivers like they're so good at it, and then once they leave, they're just garbage after, which scares me a little bit. Like Deontay had I think it was his 3rd year where he had 169 targets his 3rd year for 1,100 yards, probably like a little bit of the same average as Adam Thielen, but he had 8 touchdowns, and like ever since then, like he kind of went down. Like I just don't think they were using him right. They had really bad quarterback play last year, but like I do think Deontay's good. I don't know if I would want him as my wide receiver 2. It'd probably be my wide receiver 3, but that's just more investment. That's just a different investment between me and Chance. But I do think he can be a consistent one in your offense. I think Leggett is a boom bust guy. I just don't know how he's going to work that offense. That's the only thing, because we haven't seen Canales with that offense. Can he be Mike Evans? Maybe. He's an explosive dude. Like, he runs really well with the ball in his hands. Like, so that'd be kind of interesting. So,
yeah, I'm going to echo what I said with the running backs on this. I'm staying away from the entire group. I don't trust really any of them, although I do like Leggett. Adam Thielen's going to be 34 years old here next month. I think a lot of his targets were probably not very deep. They were getting the ball out quick, which, again, Adam Thielen's 6'2", Deontay Johnson's 5'10", Leggett is 6'3", and don't forget about Mingo. Mingo was 6'2", as a second round pick for them last year, right? So I just don't. I'm not buying anything. I guess I need to see it first. Call me a little bit of pessimist, but I'm going to stay away from this entire group.
Matt, I'm going to guess. I'm just going out on a limb. When we talk about these tight ends, your response will also be you're out on them.
Yeah, let's talk about tight ends, and yeah, for sure.
There's not much to talk about.
Treble is 48th and 302 ADP is outside the top 20, and Sanders is 33, 229, and you can get him in the 20th round. And Chance, you would be 100% correct. I am not touching either one of these, although I do like Jatavion Sanders.
Jatavion Sanders.
Yeah, thank you. I do like him in Dynasty. Yeah. I'd like to hold on to him because I think he's a pretty good prospect, but for redraft this year, I'm staying away. Do you guys agree, disagree?
Listen, if that's the host's call, I think we wrap up the Panthers.
I'm not on either of those guys. Yeah. I'm with the 10-foot pole.
Very good, very good. I think this is going to be a common theme outside of one other team.
Outside of one team, Chance.
Yeah, dude. Taysom Hill, baby. Taysom Hill. Let's go.
Well, let's get to the New Orleans Saints, Chance. That is a great segue. So, Justin, tell us about the New Orleans Saints. Kind of an off year last year. It's kind of rough to watch them. What do you got?
I hate the Saints. This is the team I hate the most in the NFL, just so we're clear. And there's a guy from my high school that plays on this team, so it's really rough. So
nice.
They're 14th in total offense, 11th in passing, 21st in rushing, and 9th in scoring offense. So I think Chance has gassed up Clint Kubiak. I think he likes him a lot, so Chance can kind of give some background on him. And he's come from the 49ers. He was their pass game coordinator for 1 year, and then was the Denver's quarterback coach from 2022 to 2023. So Chance has probably seen him a little bit. They do want to run the ball, heavy play action, outside zone scheme. I love their first-round pick in Talise Fuaga. He was a monster at Oregon State. He's just a mean left tackle. With Chance saying Ryan Rimchick is out. He might be done. That's what they said. Like his knees are just that bad. I don't know if they're gonna play left. If he's gonna play left tackle or right tackle with Fuaga. They projected him to play right tackle when he got drafted. This O line, and this isn't just because I'm a Saints hater, is the worst one in the NFL. And as a Keandre Miller like truther, like that scares the crap out of me. And Chance is probably gonna throw a bunch of dirt on Derek Carr, so I'm excited about this.
Yeah, I am gonna bury Derek Carr.
Yeah. So let's talk about the quarterback situation for the Saints. So Derek Carr, he's currently ranked position 125 sounds about right, but it's 25. His ADP is 159, and you can get him in the 17th round. Chance, go ahead, bury him. What is your thoughts on Carr?
Bury him.
Listen, I have nothing to say super negative about Derek Carr. I think you could look at Derek Carr and say he's probably the median of quarterbacks in fantasy football, and that's just what he is. But there's nothing good to say about him, right? Like he's never finished higher than QB 12 ever in fantasy. That was like that year that he looked so incredible, like he ended up breaking his leg and he looked awesome, right? Which I hate to say this, but somebody had said and I just heard this today, but someone's like, is Jordan Love going to be the next guy, or is Jordan Love Derek Carr? And he had himself a really good season and then could continue to be real average for the rest of forever. And that would suck for Jordan, for the Packers. So that would suck so bad. But like 2016 was the highest Derek Carr ever finished in fantasy for quarterbacks, and he finished 12. If you want a guy that you need to stream on an off week, he's probably that guy. You could just stream him and drop him. But I don't know. I can't really bury him. I just got nothing to say.
So fun.
Justin?
Yeah, Derek Carr sucks. I'd rather stream Taysom Hill at quarterback. That's just my thoughts.
Dude, Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
I'm a Spencer Rattler truther. I think he takes his team by the end of the year.
I can see that.
So I do feel like this is Derek Carr's last year with the New Orleans Saints. I'm pretty sure he's going to be done after this year. I'm probably staying away from him. He throws a really good deep ball, but Justin and Elton, when we first talked about it, that O-line is atrocious.
It's
so bad. He can't stay healthy. He gets hit one more time. He's done, right? He's beat up. I mean, Derek Carr's just beat up, whether it's from the Raiders and now the Saints. He's just a beat up old quarterback. I like the guy. I really do. I think he's a good quarterback. Just unfortunate in his career where he's been. 17th round, I'm probably still staying away from him unless you're doing some type of a super flex or maybe a goofy best ball. But no Derek Carr for me. I'm actually kind of with Chance. I want to see Rattler. I'm really curious what Rattler can do for this group.
I think he'll get a shot.
Moving to the running backs, Alvin Kamara and Kendre Miller. Kamara is ranked as 14th. ADP is 74. You can pick him up in the 7th round. Kendre Miller is 42, 136 in his ADP, and you can get him in the 12th round. Kamara he's kind of a hold-in right now. So the one guy I didn't put on here is Jamal Williams. I don't think he's better than Miller, but maybe. And you guys want any piece of this New Orleans Saints running back, Justin?
I feel like I've been on the Miller train for a while, and like some training camp reports came out and like saying like he hasn't like gotten any better. Like we all know that he came out of TCU hurt, didn't get a full off season, and like when he was on the field, he popped a little bit. It seemed like he got beat up. Man, Alvin Kamara is just like the inconsiderate truth, man. He just like is relevant. He's just always relevant, and I just don't understand why. Because like he looks so bored running the ball, and he's just the weirdest running back I've ever seen in my life. Because he's so good, but like it looks like he's jogging, but like he catches the ball and jogs 7 yards, and it's like that's 1.7 points in BPR. So it's like I don't love this backfield. Like Matt said, that this is going to be a recurring theme when it's the Saints. This O-line is bad, and that affects your run game. So it scares me a little bit. I probably wouldn't draft either of these guys. Miller excites me a little bit, but man, this O-line's atrocious.
Chance?
Yeah, Alvin Kamara's never been worse than an RB2. I mean, his lowest finish was 18 at the position. Last year, missing 4 games, he missed out on being an RB1 by 2 spots. He was the 14th best running back in fantasy last year, missing 4 games, which is crazy. Like to me, he should be irrelevant, but he continues to be relevant. And again, dude, it's Miller time, baby. I love Miller time. I would love Kendre to be that guy. But if the camp reports have been bad, I think Alvin Kamara. I mean, like if I talk about taking Brooks in the 6th not Brooks in the 8th, I will just reach around ahead of that and take Alvin Kamara as my RB3 and be super happy with it because I know he's going to get work. And he's the kind of running back to me that is good enough to make up for a bad O-line.
Yep, you stole the words right out of me, Chance. I see do not sleep on Kamara. I know he's 28 years old. He just turned 28.
He's McCaffrey's
No, he'll be 29 in 4 days. I apologize. But I do think he is a check down guy. I want Miller to be good. He's just not going to be in this offense. Give me Kamara out of this offense. Check down city, get the ball in space so Carr doesn't get hit 1,000 times. And you're right, Justin. He just looks like he's bored when he's running the ball. He's so good.
It's such weird production because like his receiving yards and his rushing yards are almost the same. And like he has twice as many carries as he does catches. Like, and that's crazy. He had 75 catches. That's like absurd to me. Like, and he only had 1 touchdown receiving and like 5 touchdowns running. Like Chance said, he missed 4 games.
Yep.
Like just a crazy. He's a good sleeper, like a good pickup. Like Chance said, like even if you reach on him in the 6th round, like I don't think that's crazy.
Yep, we all agree on Kamara there. Moving on to wide receiver, Olave, the newly acquired Cedric Wilson. Shaheed was on and off last year, and then A.T. Perry in his 2nd year. We'll run through their positions here. Olave is 12, his ADP 17th. You could get him in the 2nd round. Cedric Wilson, newly acquired, 145, 330. He's not being drafted in any round. Shaheed, 53, 105, 9th round, and A.T. Perry is 94, 224, and you can pick him at the end of the draft of the 19th round. Based on what we talked about Carr, and we don't like him with his O-line, are we interested in any of these wide receivers? I know we have hopes for a couple of them, but are we getting value with any of these guys? Chance?
I mean, as much as I hate Derek Carr, just for being what feels like irrelevant, he's still consistently middle of the pack for how quarterbacks produce. And even an average quarterback can feed a wide receiver 1. I mean, it doesn't take an amazing quarterback to make an amazing wide receiver 1. We have, I mean, on a couple of these ADPs that I'm looking at, Olave is going around Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake London, Nico Collins, Michael Pittman. Like, I think that he will have the production to outpace quite a few of those names. But I mean, I think Olave now for me is the time to go get him in Dynasty if you can. I think this is going to be the cheapest he's going to be because he'll look real good after this year, even with mediocre quarterback play.
Justin?
Yeah, I agree with Chance. This is like with the Dynasty thing, like I've been trying to get Olave, it just hasn't worked so far. I love Shaheed as a best ball guy. Like he is a big play waiting to happen. He had 75 targets and he only caught 46 of them, but he averaged 15 yards a catch. Like that's nuts. Like he is an explosive athlete, still pretty young. The other guys like A.T. Perry, like if you're in a really, really deep league, like I like him. We've talked about him when we were hitting our sleepers. I like him a lot. But Chris Olave, like he has a bad quarterback. I hope Spencer Rattler gets in there so he can just sling the ball because it feels like he's more of a gunslinger, just wants to throw the ball, doesn't really care the repercussions.
So let me spin it for you guys a little bit, because I'm assuming Olave is probably your wide receiver 2 most of the time, right? Is what you're thinking. Maybe he could be your wide receiver 1, but I think you prefer him as your 2nd wide receiver if you could get him that way. Maybe you go wide receiver, depending on what's going on there. So I like Olave. Carr threw the ball, 548 times, 25 TDs. He's probably the only receiver out of this group that I want in redraft. Dynasty, you guys nailed it, but redraft, I like him. But bear with me here. So if he's the 17th overall pick, would you rather have Olave or Nico Collins?
Nico Collins.
Who's going 1? Okay. So Chris Olave or Debo?
I'd take Debo.
Yeah, Debo was good last year.
Okay, he's 2 picks later. So assuming you went wide receiver, let's say you got like you decided to take Garrett Wilson or let's say you took AJ Brown, right? I don't know if I can do that either. Depends on where he's at. Let's say running back. Let's say you went Bijan Robinson.
Okay.
Okay. Let's say you took Bijan and then Chris Olave's there at 17. Would you rather have a Chris Olave or Saquon Barkley?
Saquon.
Yeah. Mike Evans?
Mike Evans.
Yeah.
A-Chain.
Chris Olave. There it is, Chris Olave.
Okay. I was just trying to find the one where we're getting at.
No,
I don't know. That's tough.
What I'm getting at is I like Olave a lot, but there are bargains past him that I would rather have than the 17th ADP.
Yes.
As
He
much
drops
as
to the third.
I think
He has to drop to the third for me. I wouldn't take him for the second.
Agreed. Tight end, and which is this is the gentleman that went to Justin's high school, but Taysom Hill, he's going 20. It's position rank 29, 202 ADP, and you get him in the 17th round. Are either one of you interested?
Dude, I love Taysom Hill. I love him because you can always stream him. Like I pick him up and I drop him probably 5 times in Dynasty every year, just because I can start him. But I will say, you don't have him listed. Juwan Johnson, a report came out that he is hopeful for the start of the season. Now, he'll probably come slow, but Juwan Johnson had a really good end of the season last year. I mean, he really came on to finish out the year last year. And I think Juwan Johnson would be a great late round dart throw for tight end.
No, you're right. You're right, Chance. They did put him on the pup list for his foot, but he could be ready to go. You're right. Taysom Hill is one of those guys that if you're lucky, you're like, man, maybe I'll throw him in, and then the next week on waiver wires, everybody's adding him, and then he doesn't do anything for 2 weeks. It's just one of those luck things that kind of happen. So, moving on from the Saints, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Justin, what do we got for the Bucks?
All right.
First of all, my favorite NFC South team.
Is Kiri in there? Did you just say that out loud when she's around?
No, I would never say that with her here.
All right. So, as you guys know, Bucks lost their OC. Canales goes over to the Panthers. They bring in Liam Cohen from Kentucky. So they are 23rd in total offense, 17th in passing, 32nd in rushing with White, which was rough, and then 20th in scoring offense. Like I said, Liam Cohen comes over from Kentucky. Expect more shifts, motions. Godwin's going back to the slot role, which is what he did with Brady. Much more 11 personnel. They use a variety of run schemes. He doesn't rely on gap or zone. And then the Bucks went out and got the best center of the draft, Grant Barton, who me and Matt talked a lot about during draft season. He is going to play center. Really good prospects. The O-line is 19th going into the season. Again, their run game was real bad last year.
Very good, very good. Starting off with the quarterback situation. Mayfield, who was actually pretty good last year. He is position ranked 22, ADP 133. You can pick him up in the 12th round. You know, based on what he did last year, and I think it surprised a lot of people. Are either one of you high on Mayfield this year to where you want to pick him up in those later rounds as maybe he could be your QB1 or certainly a QB2? Chance, I see you shaking your head.
Well, so remember Geno Smith last year and how Geno Smith went from like this resurgent career to really not as impressive the next year? He lost Dave Canales, and Dave Canales went to Tampa Bay, and Baker Mayfield looked really good last year. Like they won a playoff game last year. And now Dave Canales is gone. And I, just based on what I've seen from Baker Mayfield before Dave Canales, with Dave Canales, I'm going to assume that he's not going to live up to even that ADP this year. I love Baker Mayfield, super fun to root for, love his moxie, but he's right in that area. He's being drafted around Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, Baker, Geno Smith, Will Levis, Derek Carr. Like, again, all those guys are gross.
Yep.
And so he's just not an upside guy for me that I want to make sure I have my quarterback before I get into that realm of quarterbacks.
Justin?
Yeah, I agree with Chance on that. the thing about Baker, man, I just feel like he's got the wrong like short end of the stick, whatever you want to call it. It feels like he has a different OC every year. Like it seemed like he was starting to blossom a little bit. Like even like his last year in Cleveland, like he looked decent, but like having different OCs is tough. Like I feel like Canales might be a dude just because what he did with Gino, and Gino did look great last year. Baker looked really good. I am much more okay like taking Baker over the guys that Chance named because of the wide receivers he has. Like Mike Evans is a Hall of Famer. Chris Godwin is good. Trey Palmer's good. I think McMillan's going to be something. So that's probably the only reason I would take Baker if I had an Anthony Richardson where I was like if he gets hurt, or if I have a Kirk Cousins, that's probably what I would take him. So
that's not a bad combo. I like that.
So keep in mind, I think I'm a little bit different than you guys on this. So Baker finished QB9 last year, right? So which is impressive. So right now he's ranked at 22. I do think he will beat that again. So there is some value there. Is he always going to be my RB1? Probably not, but I don't mind stashing Baker as my second and finding, matches that I preferably like. He's got pretty much everybody back, and another weapon another couple of weapons we're going to talk about in a little bit. But don't lose sight on Baker. He's definitely not a fan favorite, but I think he might surprise you again. Running backs. Ricard, right? Justin, is that how you said it?
I thought that's how you pronounce his name. I've seen so many people pronounce his name like that.
Oh, we always said
No
Rashard.
joke.
Rashard White, and then the newly acquired Bucky Irvin. White, he's position ranked 15th, who had a phenomenal year last year. Is 63 in his ADP, pick him up in the 6th round. Bucky Irvin, 54, 172 in the 15th round. And I know we have to be, Chase Edmonds is there, and so is, give me just a second.
It's my guy. My guy, Sean Tucker. I was
Tucker.
so on his wagon last year. He did nothing.
He's still there, but I think these two are going to kind of lead the way. Either one of you interested in White or Irving? Justin, let's start with you.
I was so excited for Sean Tucker coming out of Syracuse, man. He looks so good. They didn't even get drafted. And then, nothing.
Yeah, the heart condition, I believe.
Yeah. I'm not in on either of these guys. I was kind of interested that they did draft Bucky Irving because he did play pretty well at Oregon. It'll be interesting to see how they use White because I don't think he's a good running back. I think he's good at catching the ball. Like he averaged 3.6 yards a carry as a young dude. I just don't. I'm not in on either of these running backs.
Chance.
Yeah, I think that if you were to draft Rashad White where he's at, 15th running back, I think he probably has a high likelihood of living up to being the 15th ranked running back. I don't think you're going to lose value with Rashad White just because I agree he's not a great running back. He just doesn't look good. But I think there's still he proved himself enough in that passing game and with receptions last year. I think he's going to fill that role again. Lineberry, what's Bucky Irving's one downside as a running back? Do you know?
He's
victim weight, baby. He's victim weight. Poor boy's only 195. He's close. But I think Rashad White's good. I wouldn't be surprised if Bucky Irving takes the backfield or takes snaps away from him as he starts to pick up steam. But I think to start the season, you're going to get a lot more out of Rashad White than what people think. I wouldn't be afraid to draft him where he's at.
I agree with you, Chance. Don't avoid Rashad White here. I like him. I think he'll finish as a top 10 back again, pretty easy.
Wow.
Bucky is.
That's
Yeah, I love it. Hear me out. Only because I don't think Bucky's it. I think Bucky was a guy that they're trying to use as a speedster or whatnot.
Classic Oregon running back.
Yep. White's going to get all the work again. He's going to get. He had 8-9 touchdowns last year. I think you're going to see similar. Remember, I think Rashad White finished as the RB5 last year. He was up there quite a ways.
He's up there.
So, which was great. I think we'll see a duplicate, maybe not as high, but certainly within the top 10. So, wide receivers, good group here in my opinion. But Mike Evans, Godwin, Palmer, the newly acquired McMillan. Evans is 17th in his position ranking, 23 in his ADP, second round value. Godwin, which Justin talked about playing some slot this year, he's going to be 35 position rank, 56 in his ADP in the 5th round. Palmer, who was a rookie last year, 113 266. That's outside the 20th round. I still like that kid. He's pretty good. And then the newly acquired McMillan from the University of Washington, who was their wide receiver number 3, and really was a good wide receiver before they moved him into the slot, I believe. His position ranked is 82, 188, and you get him in the 16th round. Chance, you like this wide receiver group? What are your thoughts?
I like him a lot, and I got really excited when Lineberry was talking about Godwin maybe going out of the slot again this year, because I feel like, man, remember Godwin had like this meteoric rise, and he was like the new hotness. Like, you know, just a couple of those wide receivers who blow up on the scene and then probably disappear forever. Like you got Godwin.
Like those Penn State receivers, man, they had like one good year. They did here. Him and Allen Robinson did.
Oh, yeah, Allen Robinson. I literally just thought of another couple of guys that were good. Like Justin Jefferson's like that, you know.
What?
I'm sorry. What? It was a jab at JJ. But I think Chris Godwin is honestly, to me, a sleeper this year. I think even in the 5th round, he could be a real prominent wide receiver on your team. Going back to the days when him and Mike Evans were just blowing up. Would you guys be okay? Tell me which of these receivers you would rather have as your wide receiver 1 on your team if you go, let's say you go running back, right? Would you rather have Mike Evans, Brandon Ayuk, Jalen Waddle, or DK Metcalf as your wide receiver 1?
It's DK for me.
Yeah, DK.
DK? Okay.
Yeah.
So but that's the range that Mike Evans is in. He could very easily end up as my wide receiver 1 on my team. And I mean, I wouldn't be mad about it. If he slipped into the 3rd and I got him, oh my gosh, I'd be stoked to have him as my wide receiver 1, because I know he's going to get 1,000 yards. I just know it. He's so consistent.
Justin?
Yeah, I won't talk too much about Mike Evans because he's been a thorn in my side for it feels like 10 years, man. It's just good. There is one guy that I want to talk about that is kind of under the radar, Sterling Shepard. I think he came out of retirement to come play for the Bucks. You guys all remember like that?
Sterling Shepard's on the Bucks?
Baker and him were college teammates. And Baker was pretty much was on him a lot to come play football for the Bucks. So it'll be kind of like, do I think he'll be anything relevant in a 10 or 12-man league? Probably not, but like in a deeper league or a best ball league, like maybe he finds that form he was for that first or 2 years. I do like McMillan a lot, man. That Washington offense, man, that offense was disgusting. So
they were fun.
And he was just an overlooked guy that he was, but there was a lot of games where he led in targets, led in yards. So yeah.
I do. Evans, you're right. Godwin, I think, will get his. Palmer McMillan storyline will be interesting. They're kind of the same player. I think they're going to be in position battle and they'll rotate through. Sterling's not going to be anything to me but a player coach is what I kind of feel like for the wide receivers. But Evans is the guy to go get out of this group all day, every day. Tight end group. I have Cade Otton, who is position ranked 20, 175, to get him in the 15th round. No for me. Either one of you?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay.
I mean, Cade Otton, the way that I have drafted NFL teams, my fantasy teams for years and years, Cade Otton fits right into that mold of I would take him super late as a potential breakout at tight end. Now, I drafted that way for years, and it's only served me well like twice ever. Like I've had to change how I draft in fantasy because it's not the concept of what bad second to last pick tight end I get after I load up on all my other positions. But that's who Cade Otton would have been for me this year had I not changed my drafting philosophy recently.
Yep, I agree. There's nothing there. He got a few targets. I liked him when Brady was there, but that's about it. So we're gonna move on to Justin's favorite team.
Yeah, let's
and we're
go.
gonna talk about it. We'll let Justin just kind of get us into this.
We have 15 minutes. Okay, we saved.
It's not enough. Minutes. It's not enough time.
Sorry, but you're gonna have to be.
What do we got with Atlanta? What are we expecting? What do you see, Justin?
Oh man, their offense was so bad last year. 17th total offense, 22nd in passing, 9th in rushing, 18th in scoring. Okay, so there's 3 key points that I want to hit here, and this is just for Chance because he hates my team secretly. So, Zach Robinson comes over from the Rams. If you guys remember, he played at Cincinnati, I believe, for a long time. And he was just fun to watch. I just never played quarterback, so I just feel old. So the Rams used 11 personnel 82% of the time. That's first in the league. The Falcons used 11 personnel 14% of the time. That's 32nd in the league. Okay? So they're going to use 3 receivers, whether that's Mooney, Drake London, if they put Kyle Pitts out there, wide receiver, which they have talked about a little bit. Okay, so Bijan, he averaged 4.4 yards a carry. Just that was his overall season average. In 11 personnel, he averaged 6.8 yards a carry. That was second only behind CMC. So I'm super excited. Every metric that you look at with 3 wide receiver sets, Drake London is substantially better in. Like every metric I looked at, like his efficiency, his yards per catch, everything was so much better in 3 wide receiver sets. They have a top 5 O-line coming in. Bergeron coming into his second year. Should take another leap at left guard. He played pretty well last year. And this is a total bias. The Falcons are the most improved team in the NFL. We had the worst quarterback play in the NFL. And we go to, not that Kirk Cousins is Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, but he is an above average quarterback. Mm-hmm. And like, quarterback is the most important position. So I truly believe they are the most improved quarterback. If he gets hurt, like they're very similar to the Jets, which scares the crap out of me. Like they have 2 or 3 really, really good playmakers. They have a decent O-line, but like, I'm super excited for this year. Like usually the Falcons crush my heart every year, but I'm very excited for them this year.
So let's start out, like you segue right into it with the QB situation for the Falcons. Kirk Cousins, position rank 18th. You can get him at 114 currently in the 10th round. And Michael Penix, 246, and he's not being drafted. Now, this is not Dynasty. Dynasty is a different thing. This is all redraft stuff. Are you taking both of these guys in redraft? If one goes, you trying to get the other. What are your thoughts, Chance? What are you doing with this quarterback situation that everybody kind of wants a piece of, right? Everybody says the offense is, wow, it's going to explode. Are you in or are you out on this quarterback situation?
This is a quarterback situation that I am going to be so much more comfortable with when my draft.
Oh, did we lose him?
You know? Did you lose me? Am I here?
Okay. Yeah, now we got you. Okay. Start over. Hit the replay button.
Start over. My bad. I'll rewind that. I just think this is a quarterback room that I need training camp to parse out. Right? I'm going to need training camp to see how Kirk Cousins looks, to see how the throws look, to see how he feels coming off that injury. And then, I just don't feel comfortable with either of these guys in a redraft right now. And it'll be super cool that, how old is Kirk Cousins right now? He's 34. He's 36. 35. I mean, Kirk Cousins is the same age now as Michael Penix will be when he finally gets to start for the Falcons. So that's super cool that they'll get to see what they've got in old quarterbacks moving forward, But I'm not interested in either of these guys as of right now. But 100% by the time we're done with training camp and I have eyes on what this team looks like, I would change my tune on Cousins quick if he looks like he's up to snuff after that injury.
Justin?
I'm probably out on both. It's just not the quarterback I hunt for. I do like rushing upside a lot, and Kirk Cousins doesn't do that. He's a very good fantasy quarterback, which is nice to have, but I'm probably out on both of them.
Yeah, this is one of the few positions I think they got it right, the position rank. Kirk Cousins, I think, is the 18th ranked quarterback currently, as I kind of go through the rankings and whatnot. I think he finished QB 24. Obviously, he was hurt, so it's kind of a moot point. But this is a good starting spot for him. I do agree with you, Chance. It's a wait and see on this, although we are super excited for the offense potential. I read an article today, I believe yesterday, that talked about the Vikings were trying to do this exact same thing that the Falcons just did. Right? They're like, oh, this is what we want to do with Cousins, and of course they lost out on the whole thing, and then they're kind of scrambling a little bit. But yes. I think right now this is a wait and see thing for these quarterbacks. Pause. Let's see how things pan out, and we'll kind of go from there. Running backs. There's only one running back we need to talk about. We'll talk about two for sure.
Oh, come on.
Bijan Robinson is position ranked second. I think that's a little too low. ADP is 7th. You have to get him in the first round. Tyler Algier is 52, 160. You pick him up in the 14th round. Justin, I'm going to let you talk about your guy right now. Go ahead and peel it off.
Oh, man. I already told you guys about his yard per carry in 3 wide receiver sets. Like, again, I think there's 2 running backs, like, I guess 3, like CMC, Brees, and him. And, like, I would probably rank them Bijan, Brees, and then CMC. That's just me. I just think Bijan's going to go off this year. I think they're going to run it through him. Just like Brees said, I think he is the offense. They're going to run everything through him. I think he's going to get a lot more snaps out wide. I think they're going to play him in 3 wide receiver sets with Algier in the back and Bijan running routes. I don't know who their third wide receiver is going to be. We'll get into that when we get to the wide receivers. But, man, like, they just – like, Chance had some stat about, like, his usage. Like, it was high, but, like, usage and, like, correct usage are substantially different. Like, he just wasn't used correctly. They were using Jonnu Smith in the red zone. Like, they have 3 dogs on this offense, and they just need to use them. And I think Bijan, there's so many possibilities that he finishes as the overall one.
Chance?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the only person here who's a bigger Bijan Robinson fan than Justin is me. I got a goat named after him. So, you know, like, yeah. Just kidding. That was Limeberry's goat. He gave it to me. Named it Bijan. But, I mean, I have Bijan in a keeper league, and I'm thrilled. I'm so excited to have him. He is such a good running back. And I think that if you can get Bijan in the first round, take Bijan in the first round 99% of the time, because unless you're at the 101, and I do think CMC is still going to finish higher than Bijan just because of his usage, and he's still that dude. Until he's not that dude, he's going to be that guy, CMC. But Bijan's right there, and I'm so stoked to see how they use him. My only issue with these Falcons is, you know, and this goes to Limeberry, is we talk about, Bijan Robinson, so good. He could be the RB1. And Drake London, really good, underrated. He should be a top 10 wide receiver. And Kyle Pitts is going to finish as a tight end 1. There's no offense that's going to produce a number 1 RB, a number 1 tight end, and a number 1 wide receiver. I mean, like, it's just, you can't get that many touches and that many touchdowns to all 3 of those players to make them all the one. So I'd be curious, Limeberry, and we can talk about it at the end after we've talked to all of them, who you think has the most likelihood to finish number 1 at their position. Is that Bijan for you?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I want to know at the end.
We'll talk.
They can't all be number 1.
I think they can all be top 12 guys pretty easy.
Yeah.
Here's my take on it, and we'll move on real quick. I'm taking Bijan at the 101. He will outscore McCaffrey. He will. The changing of the guards happening, and it wouldn't surprise me if Hall also did it. If Brees did it as well. I can see it's coming, and it's okay, Chance. You'll catch up mid-season.
I will stand alone as the CFC truther, but I have Bijan and Brees on a keeper team
in the same team.
On the same team. I'm going to back-to-back in a league because I have those 2 guys, and I'm thrilled about it.
What I see out of this, and I'll answer your question for you a little bit, Chance. What I see out of this group, this Bijan Robinson, London, and Pitts group, is what I saw out of Detroit last year. That's what I'm comparing it to. You had 10 touchdowns for tight end. 10 touchdowns. Yeah, they all had 10 touchdowns, right? I don't know what order, who's going to be higher or what, but I do see something like that.
That is a really good mirror picture. Like that's. Yeah.
That's what I see. So
I like it.
Tyler Algier, you can take him or leave him. You might want him as a backup because you might get panicked Peter of Bijan injury, or
I love
Bijan gets a headache or something.
He is one of the funnest running backs to just run the ball because he's a bowling ball. So.
Yeah, they should have traded him, but whatever. Wide receiver for this group. Interesting group: London, Mooney, and Moore. London, you can get position rank 10, ADP 13. You're going to get him in the second round, which in my mind is a steal. We'll talk about more in that in a minute. The former Bear, Mooney, 67 is position ranked, 146 is ADP, 13th round. And an interesting one I'll bring up a little bit later, Ronzel Moore is added to the team, 90th in a position rank, 217th. You get him super late in the 19th round. London, I think we all agree on. He's going to have a phenomenal year. I think he's going to get a ton more targets. The kid's a really good wide receiver that just had a horrible quarterback. Is he too high for you guys, or you like him right where he's at? Chance, I'm going to start with you.
I think he's too high. I think he's too high, and I just was looking at guys around him that I would rather have as my wide receiver one, right? Like Garrett Wilson's right around there. I'd rather have Garrett Wilson. Drake and Marvin Harrison is close for me. I'd rather have Nico Collins. I'd rather have Debo or Ayuk as my wide receiver one. I'd even rather have Mike Evans as my wide receiver one over Drake London. But that's just like, but he's in there. I don't know if I'd go any lower than that. I might, because I'm high on DK, I'd take DK over Drake London as my wide receiver one. And DK is about 5 spots lower than Drake London. But Kirk Cousins fed a number one wide receiver. He's done it. And I can totally see him doing it again. But again, that conversation of, I don't know if you can have all 3 of those guys finish in the top 10 at their position. It's doable. But that's a lot of faith in a system with a new quarterback. That's a lot of faith in a new system all up front, you know? So I think there's a lot to, there's only one football that can go around. And I think Drake London he loses out the most because of the freak Kyle Pitts is, and because of the talent that Bijan Robinson is. So to me, Drake London is the bottom of those 3. That's why he's a little bit lower in my ranks.
Justin?
So Drake London, I actually think full opposite of Chance. I think he has the best chance to finish as wide receiver 1.
Okay.
Like, overall 1. To answer Chance's question.
Sell us to it.
So, like Chance said, like he's selling my points. Like Kirk Cousins is so good at feeding one guy, just like getting tunnel vision on one dude. Like, I don't think you guys understand the catchable target percentage that Drake London had with the past 2 quarterbacks, with Mariota, Ritter, and Heineke. It was like bottom of the league. It was bad. Like he had 72 catches on 117 targets. Like that's not a good percentage. But like the catchable balls and the balls that he was having to get, like he is not just a contested catch guy. He's like 6'4", and I think that's what a lot of people came out as a draft. Like he's a 6'4" guy. He's Mike Evans. He's a contested catch, and like that's a good player comp. Mike Evans, I think, is a better athlete. Like he coming out of Texas A&M, ran like a 4.3. Like Drake London is not that fast, but he separates with the best of them. Like his route running is good. I think Kirk Cousins gets real bad tunnel vision with Drake London. Like really, really bad tunnel vision. I think right now, like the pendulum is pretty high. Like once they signed Kirk Cousins, like they swung so much to Drake London, and like I've seen him go like very early the second sometimes. But man, I think he's a really good player. One thing that I do want to touch on before Mooney and Rondale Moore. So Casey Washington is a guy they drafted this year. So when they first started minicamp, he was going with the 4s, so the 4th teamers. He has worked his way up with where he's rotating with Rondale Moore. I think Rondale Moore is strictly a gadget guy. I don't think he's draftable. I think he'll do a lot of kick return, punt return stuff, but I strictly think he's a gadget guy. They traded Desmond Ritter strictly for Rondale Moore. I think Mooney is a better version of Jameson Williams to compare it to the Lions. He catches the ball better. He had that one good season with the Bears. I don't think he'll be anything special. I think he'll have 600 yards, maybe 4 touchdowns. Nothing crazy. But I think Drake London will be the focal point in the passing game.
Fair enough. And I'm going to go right in the middle. I think out of these 3, let me preface this a little bit. I want as many pieces of this offense as I can get. Right?
Okay.
If they fall to me, I'm going to start with that. But I do think London is probably the second best player on this team from as far as who I want. I want Bijan first, London, then Pitts. Justin, I know it'll be very interesting. I don't know how many targets. If London get more targets than Pitts, right? Targets are limited. That's what kind of Chance I was alluding to. Bijan is 100% going to get more carries, more targets than he got last year. How many more targets will London get from his 110 or 117? I think it's 110. Could he get another 20? Could he get another, 10? I don't know. But I do think Pitts gets a whole lot more targets with Cousins there. So that's my take on it. bottom line, we like this offense. Go get them, so on and so forth. I do want to throw one thing out there with Rondell Moore. I like Rondell Moore a lot. I am not drafting him in a redraft. But best ball, there's going to be a couple of games where I think Rondell Moore might go off because he's going to get a couple gadget plays and break some big stuff. So just keep that in mind. Kyle Pitts, last one, moving on. We've kind of lumped him in already, but he is a position ranked 6th. ADP is 60. You can get him in the 5th round. You guys like him there? We talked about it as this loaded tight end group this year. You like him as a 6th overall? Do you want him? Chance, I'll start with you.
I like, for the first time ever.
Yeah, let's go!
I like Kyle Pitts at that spot because of his upside. I think that he has Dalton Kincaid, Sam Laporta style upside.
Yes.
But I'm getting him at 6. Kyle Pitts is my number 1 best ball target.
Oh, you son of a gun!
At the tight end position, if you're gonna draft in best ball, he's a guy with a ton of upside. That if you're gonna draft your onesie positions high, meaning you draft your tight end and your quarterback, at a premium position versus trying to bargain bin those positions, Kyle Pitts to me is a great best ball pickup. Where he's at, I just am comfortable spending that on a guy that I think has every opportunity to match what a tight end 1 could do, or at least have that upside. For me, I think Bijan's the obvious one to finish number 1 of his position from this team. I'd go Bijan, Pitts, Drake London, going back to my original question of, who's most likely to finish 1 at their position. But yeah, like I said, I like Kyle Pitts for his upside this year more than any year.
Justin, you agree?
Yeah, so I think people forget Kyle Pitts' rookie year, he had more yards than Sam Laporta. He just didn't score touchdowns because the Falcons don't like to score touchdowns. Okay, they like to kick field goals because they got a really good field goal kicker. Okay, anyways, like Chad said, he was coming back from a very serious knee injury. They said it was a torn MCL. There was a lot more stuff. If you watched any Falcons games, he looked like Alvin Kamara. He was slow out of cuts, looked lethargic. And seeing all his Twitter stuff, all the stuff he's posting, he looks like a wide receiver. And they said they're going to use him wide receiver, which is awesome. Use him as a big slot, use him outside. Like Chance said, the 2 tight ends that I'm targeting the most in my mock drafts, my redrafts, are Pitts and Dalton Kincaid. The only reason I like Dalton Kincaid more is because there's all these vacated targets. But man, Kyle Pitts, in the 5th round, I've seen him go in the 6th round too a lot. He's a bargain for me.
Yep, I agree. Go get Pitts. Pitts is nice. That's all I have to say. Gentlemen, that is the NFC South. Great job. We were able to break that down a little bit over an hour. No big deal. Had a lot of fun doing it.
We're in a great spot right now.
Yeah, yes, we are. Any final comments or anything like that? Chance, we'll start with you. Anything coming up?
No, I mean, like I said, I'm just so excited to get back to my feed being full of training camp and football news. I'm just excited for training camp. I just am so excited for that first major injury that gets the fantasy juices flowing. You know what I mean? Where people are all of a sudden, somebody that we haven't talked about all off season is going to be relevant, and even just looking through waivers and dynasty and all these spots, I just get excited about who's that guy that in a month we're going to be talking about that was nowhere on our radar in any of our division decisions, or we barely touched on them, because there's always that guy. There will always be that guy. I can't wait to find out who it is. I'm sick in the head about it.
For sure.
So I got 2 things. So we're talking about catchable rate. So Drake London had 72 catches. He only got 72 balls that were catchable. 74. And he had 117 targets. So that's one thing. My bold take out of this division is Jonathan Brooks finishes the top 12 running back.
A top 4?
Wow.
Top 12.
Top 12. Wow.
Yep.
That's good. Maybe we'll have to do a show on that. We do have some ranking shows coming up. We're going to get through the divisions here soon. By August, we want to start getting into our rankings and player rankings, position rankings to help you guys in your draft. We did. Justin kicked out a tight end episode. Go check that out. I sent one out yesterday. 3 players that need a little more respect. For sure.
And it's Matt's favorite player, man.
Yeah, go out there. I think it'll help you. Chance has got one coming up. I won't spoil yet what the topic is yet, and we'll get him out there and we'll rotate some more content for you guys. Hey, be sure to smash that like button, turn on the notifications, and please subscribe. We're here to do just to get you guys winning. We want you guys to win your fantasy football leagues because that's what it's all about in the bragging rights. Until next time, guys, we'll see you next week, if not a little bit earlier, and have a good one.